people back up. Give a few minutes, see people joining.
Okay. All right.
P. Diddy shut us down.
That's very interesting. I don't know what shut us down, but anyway, y'all, we're back. My apologies for that. I don't know. We just, here's the problem. This is a good time for me to talk about this, Paul, before we get back to our topic. Here's what I'm going to say. People, our reliance on Wi-Fi and the internet is going to kill us. So if you don't have a landline, get yourself a landline. Because this is what Wi-Fi does. I mean, for some strange reason, we just got bolted, and we don't know. I know that the internet provider here is upgrading this week, and I don't know if that's what causes an interruption. But anyway, Paul, you were saying before we were cut off, we're going to have, I guess, 2 different broadcasts to edit. Do you know what you were saying?
No. Help me out.
Okay. So in any case, you were talking about P. Diddy. You were talking about that maybe Mr. Jones has a motive here.
I was just saying, anytime somebody sues a billionaire or somebody of importance and you settle a case, it opens you up to other lawsuits by other people. And so as soon as Cassandra settled her case with P. Diddy, 3 more lawsuits filed, and this one was filed. So you've got people coming out of the woodworks now basically pointing to her and saying she got paid, I'm going to get paid too. And that maybe everything they're saying is 100% true. And if it is, screw P. Diddy. I was never a big fan of his anyway because he shot Tupac. But
okay, Beverly. Beverly says she still have a landline. Hey, Beverly, and that's really good to still have a landline. I still have one, but my phone doesn't ring through it. I rely on cell phones just for primary communications. Not here at the office, but
I have a landline, but it's internet based.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. That's what's going to happen to us. But in any case, so Paul, let me just ask this about P. Diddy, because you believe that Mr. Jones has a motive. I mean, there's a serious question about somebody who is witnessing this, because he claims that he witnessed the shooting.
Right.
Show us that bloody picture of the bathroom.
He says there was a shooting at P. Diddy's house where
it says the following are screenshots of the aftermath of the restroom where whoever G was either shot by either Mr. Combs or his son.
And what happened was, when the police arrived, everybody said the man was shot outside in a drive-by shooting, and everybody covered up the incident. Everybody participated in the cover-up, which lends a little credibility to Jones's allegation that he was scared. Because, think about it, Carl. If I walk into your house and I say, Carl beat the hell out of me, and I walk out and the police say, well, let's ask the witnesses, and Carl says, I didn't do it. And all the witnesses says, no, Paul came in here drunk.
Yeah, but this picture that we're showing on the screen now, Paul, that could easily be somebody at a party at P. Diddy's house, gets drunk, falls down, or is in the bathroom throwing up, falls down, hits himself. I mean, that looks like a damn.
It's gonna be.
That looks like a damn high school bathroom.
It's gonna be hard for them.
Rains behind where you flush it. It's not even a classy bath, toilet. But in any case, you were saying
it's gonna be hard for the police to piece together what happened unless everybody.
Well, you know how they do it today, Paul, right? If you're a criminal, by the way, we're going to give you this free advice. If you're a criminal, you better be sophisticated with your cell phones, because that's the first thing they're going to get. They're going to come.
And they did confiscate P. Diddy's cell phone.
Right. First of all, what law enforcement does is that if you have 2 residences, just like in the Breonna Taylor case, they try to get you at the same time. They try to get to those residences. So in Miami, they raided. In Los Angeles, his house in Los Angeles, they raided. And they do that because they don't want to give you the opportunity to really destroy what it is they want. So here it is. Until these billionaires start owning the internet service providers, then all that information on their cell phones, that's all the feds have to do is just get that cell phone. They got it. So they get the cell phones, right, Paul?
Well, they have burner phones for real criminals.
Well, but they get the burner phones.
For the real criminals. We're not actually counseling people how to commit crimes.
I think they get them all. I think everybody would be surprised the law enforcement relationship with the internet service providers.
Well, the purpose of a burner phone is that you use it and get rid of it immediately. So.
Right, but that doesn't mean that the data is not still out there. I know a lot of people believe that the data is not there, but burner phones are no safety net. Huh?
But the phone's gone, so they can't get the data off the phone that doesn't exist.
You believe that, but
I mean, if I'm going to carry a burner phone and I'm going to get rid of it as I should, look, I ain't counseling nobody how to commit crimes. Just saying.
Here's another excerpt from the from the lawsuit. It says, this is paragraph 167. It says, Mr. Combs is allowed to wreak havoc. It says, while living and traveling with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones discovered that Mr. Combs has hidden cameras in every room of his home. His homes. Mr. Jones believes that Mr. Combs has recordings of defendants Lucian Charles Grange, I don't know who that is, the Ethiopian woman, not Ethiopian, but that's her name, Ethiopia, as well as other celebrities, music label executives, politicians, and athletes. So what he's saying there is that he believes that they have that anybody who's been rendezvousing at P. Diddy's house, there's recordings of it. Upon information and belief, that means that they don't really know, right? These individuals were recorded without their knowledge and consent, and as is the case with the homosexual sex tape of Stevie J that Mr. Combs provided to Mr. Jones, Mr. Combs possesses compromising footage of every person that has attended his freak-off parties and his house parties. Now, but let me just pause there before you say something, Paul, and say this. Why is that necessary in this lawsuit when this man's trying to collect money?
Because his goal is not to talk about his damages. His goal is to expose P. Diddy, probably in his mind to protect himself, but probably if I embarrass P. Diddy enough,
maybe he'll settle.
But
doesn't that take some credibility away from his lawsuit?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, at trial, a lot of this is going to be excluded. You know that as well as I do.
All these allegations that he's
the jury's never going to hear it. The judge is going to hear it if you're letting the judge be the trier of fact. But the jury's never going to hear this, and that's the only. Let me just tell you this. I know pictures speak 1,000 words, right? So I'm looking at the pictures in this complaint, and I'm thinking, okay, but when you really, really get down to the nuts and bolts of the complaint, at the very end, he says, I worked there for how many months, Paul? And I didn't get paid. And he owes me $250,000 or whatever amount of money is. And what that suggests to us as lawyers is that there was probably some conversation. There was probably some conversations before the lawsuit was filed. Let's try to get this resolved. There were some threats made to Mr. Jones. And then all of a sudden, the compromise was never made. And then here we are, right? Then here we are. We're looking at this lawsuit.
And again, I don't know enough about the true facts of this case. I only know what I read in the complaint. And it could be that P. Diddy would it be out of the range of possibility that P. Diddy took advantage of somebody who was not as smart, not as business savvy, but very talented, but didn't know how to get money out of it.
Now, why do you say that? Because this kid was what? He was sort of like a gifted kid, right?
So he was musically gifted. He's been playing music since he was 5. He knows how to play 13 instruments. So I don't know him, but if someone told me he was a savant at music, I would say, okay, that sounds believable.
Well, he was a producer.
Well, but producer is a term that somebody put on him. All that means is that you were able to create music. So you could be a producer if you produce music. You're a producer. Does that mean you're a producer like on the level of who's Michael Jackson's producer, the famous black guy who did We Are the World? Who was that? Quincy Jones. No, he's not on the level of a Quincy Jones.
No, he's not.
But he's considered a producer because he created music.
Right.
So P. Diddy could easily take advantage of somebody with talent, but not the skill to make money off his talent. So that's totally believable.
Yeah, but if you believe Mr. Jones, then P. Diddy is a true pedophile. Because here's this guy with, this is a guy, Paul, by the way.
Pedophile. I don't remember him saying P. Diddy was a pedophile.
Well, let me finish. No, let me finish. The pedophilia, in essence, is going after the weak and the defenseless, right?
If you want to.
So if you believe that this guy is a kid that is just a super smart kid and only came out there as a nerd music producer, and then all of a sudden he's complaining in this complaint, which, we've talked about female teachers sexually assaulting high school male students. And I know we joked on this show many years ago about what's the kid complaining about. Right. But here's a kid that is complaining that Young Miami, I think is the name, his cousin, who was a female, was, came into the bathroom, groped him,
and raped him,
and gave him head. And he's complaining about that in the complaint.
Forced to have sex with a female, and then he reports it years later as I was forced to have sex. And maybe
you're taking it somewhere else. Let me just finish my point, Paul. My point is that a lot of guys, generally speaking, not for every man, but some men just wouldn't find it necessary to say, I'm going to file a lawsuit because I was in P. Diddy's house and a woman gave me head. No, right? So what I'm saying is that I it's almost like, I need to throw everything in. I need to throw everything in so I can get my money.
He threw everything in for a reason to say that the time he lived with PD, I think it was 2021 to 23 or something like it. Maybe it was 18 months. But the time period he lived with P. Diddy caused him emotional distress. And so that all that together is for his claim of emotional distress, that I was brought into this world or this life.
Yeah, but he didn't have to stay there.
But you're right. But he's claiming that he was afraid to leave and all this mess.
Yeah, but he left. Somehow he got out.
I'm just trying to explain his lawsuit. I'm saying.
But you have some suspicions. You have some suspicions.
It's got some credibility issues. And the reason why I have credibility issues is because I don't know enough about him. P. Diddy might tell the story as he's a junkie loser who's just trying to get money.
Right.
And I would believe that.
And I think we talked about this before the show, Paul, and I'll say it here. I was watching Joy Reid on MSNBC. And on the Joy Reid show, she had a regular contributor to MSNBC and her show. And he was talking about how he knew P. Diddy and called P. Diddy to see if P. Diddy would give his nephew an internship. His aspiring producer, aspiring music person, music creator. And he did. And P. Diddy said, send him out. And he came out and he was working with P. Diddy. And then this commentator says that then all of a sudden he noticed about 4 months later, the kid was back in New York as opposed to being in California working with P. Diddy. And he said, he asked the kid, well, what are you doing back? And he said, Uncle, P. Diddy gave me an ultimatum. He said, you're going to sleep in my bed with me tonight or you don't have a job. He said, so I got on a plane and came back to New York.
Right. I wouldn't send my daughter to or my son to.
Right. But hold on because I think you're sliding away from the point. The point is that somebody came on to a show that is very credible, in my opinion, like Joy Reid. This man is a national commentator, and he's offering this suggestion or offering this information about the experience that his nephew had. I can almost guarantee you that the feds are probably going to reach out to him.
Right, but did this story come out before or after the P. Diddy expose? Where was this story?
It came out after, but let me just keep this in perspective, Paul. I'm telling you, this was not a joker that said this. This is a very credible commentator and writer for the New York Times. I think it was New York Times.
I get it, but everybody always has a story after the big story is told. And so I'm just wondering, where's everybody at? Like when he ran off from there, what happened?
Well, I to this commentator's credit, I would tell you this, that nothing really happened, right? Because his nephew said, listen, I'm not sleeping with you, so I'm going back to New York. And it gets to you, and so I'm piggybacking to the point that we were just talking about, and what we were talking about this kid, Mr. Jones. If this kid could leave, if the commentator's nephew could leave, why couldn't Mr. Jones just, get on a plane and leave? I'm not
going to call Mr. Jones a liar straight out.
But you have some suspicions.
I got suspicions about anybody who makes allegations until the proof is heard. You can't.
I got you.
Because I'm not the type of person to say I'm going to believe every allegation that somebody makes. Because somebody can make an allegation about me tonight. I could walk out of here and say we had a good time, and you could, your producer could say I punched him in the jaw on the way out. Anybody can say anything until you see proof is when I start to believe. Anybody can say anything at any time about anybody.
Yeah.
And people make up stuff about celebrities all the time, and celebrities do some stupid shit all the time.
People do.
Mel Gibson, they all the stories that was told about Mel Gibson, were all of them true? I don't know. But a lot of them were about what he said about, Jewish people and his racist remarks and everything, and now his reputation is forever stained.
Yeah, I got you. I just do. We have another slide of P. Diddy before we make our way out of here. So here's another one. It says Mr. Combs went so far as to share a video of Stevie J anally penetrating a Caucasian male with a condom. This was done to ease Mr. Jones's anxiety concerning homosexuality. According to Mr. Combs, this is a normal practice in the music industry. Look at even Stevie J is doing it. Quote, Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in sexual intercourse with rapper, this is an unnamed rapper, R&B singer, unnamed, and Stevie J. Mr. Combs promised to make sure that Mr. Jones wins Producer of the Year at the Grammys if he engaged in homosexuality. The following are screenshots of the video of Stevie J anally penetrating a Caucasian male that Mr. Combs provided to Mr. Jones. Now, we don't have the video. The video was not in the complaint, but there was a photograph in the complaint. And so, I just find it really, really compelling. And it just suggests a lot to me about what has taken place up to the time that this lawsuit was filed. Because, Paul, every day when we have scathing allegations like that, we're able to talk to the other side. The other side comes and talks to us, and they say, well, maybe we can get this resolved. I'm just curious as to why this wasn't resolved. And
how do you resolve?
I think you look the same way he resolved it with his girlfriend.
Okay, well, what if he didn't resolve this because he said it's all complete bullshit? Do you still resolve it?
No. I completely respect that. I don't. I would never say you need to resolve it just to get rid of it. I'm just saying that, assuming that this is true, I'm curious as to why. And it may beg the question as to whether there's any validity to the lawsuit. So again,
why are we assuming it's true? We're assuming it's true because that's what everybody thinks goes on in Hollywood. That don't make it true. So it's easy to make it's easy for me to make an allegation about stuff that P.
Wait a
Diddy.
minute, Paul. That's what goes on in Hollywood.
Okay.
I know you've never been there before, but trust me, that's what goes on in Hollywood. I'm just saying,
but so that's what goes on in Hollywood for every celebrity?
No, not for every celebrity, Paul, but I'm just saying
is Bruce Willis throwing sex parties?
I mean, who knows what Bruce Willis did before he became debilitating? All I'm saying to you is that Hollywood is a different community, and it's not what the Republicans say.
But it's not. It's not Hollywood. It's human beings. You got that shit happening.
It's human beings in Hollywood.
You got
Paul.
that happening right here in Louisville, Kentucky, and motherfuckers ain't getting paid millions and billions of dollars.
You had to cuss?
Sorry, it's a family show.
No, but here's and you bring up a good point because there's a wealth angle to this also. I mean, when Alvin talks about two billionaires from New York and they're in sex scandals, I mean, I've always said this, and I'll continue to say this, that wealth plays a part. Wealth plays a part in this. I think wealthy people in this country believe that they are privileged, and unfortunately, it crosses the color line.
People who just make a lot of money think they're privileged. Right here in Louisville, Kentucky.
Well, what is a lot of money?
Okay.
Other than being a billionaire.
Okay, so how many people have gotten arrested and said, you can't arrest me, my mother, my father, or I'm...
Well, those are the
XYZ.
ignorant ones.
Well, but it happens.
Because they still get arrested.
That's human nature.
Right.
It happens.
Right. I got you. Anyway, we are beyond...
the scope.
Okay. So I think Beverly let's go to our comment screen. And then we'll see this comment from Beverly Sarton. She says, Paul, she's directing this at you, Paul.
Oh my God.
That is what goes on in Hollywood and everywhere else.
I'm not. Well, yeah, and everywhere else. And I'm not saying it doesn't go on. I'm just saying that that's the stereotype. Whether it's true or not, that's the stereotype. So it's easy to say P. Diddy did that. It's easy for you to assume it happened. Yeah. I'm just saying we are lawyers. We are not supposed to necessarily assume this is true. Show us the evidence.
Yeah, but don't you know,
he did show a lot of evidence.
I mean, but Paul, don't you? And I'm just going to add some credibility to the lawsuit. Evidence. He really did. It was very detailed. And, we can get in trouble for just filing frivolous complaints, but we can't get in trouble for filing a 100 count complaint or almost a 200 count complaint when only 20 of the counts have really, really clear validity. And we can add all this other stuff to it, which is exactly what Mr. Jones did in his complaint. There's a lot of stuff that is just totally irrelevant.
It's not relevant to his lawsuit.
It's totally not relevant to his lawsuit. The fact, he's talking about criminal conduct, and what's really interesting here is that you want to be a hero, go to the police. The raid
Maybe he did though.
The raid did not take place until this lawsuit was filed. Now, I haven't seen the answer to this lawsuit yet. So that's very interesting because that was a lawsuit that was filed in February. And it's now default judgment time if nobody has answered, right?
I'm sure they're not stupid enough to go default judgment.
Well, I would be interested to see what the answer. If it's a boilerplate answer that says no, we didn't do it, or if the answer comes with such great detail, which it probably wouldn't, because that's not the way we as civil litigators answer complaints. So in any case, anyway, Paul, we are beyond our curfew time, so I'm gonna make this pitch so we can get out of here. Paul, once again, thank you for joining me this week for this interesting conversation. And for everybody out there, I'm sorry, we just don't control technology. We are Wi-Fi based here, so when the Wi-Fi gives us a finger, we are helpless.
Time the show.
Right? We just have to end the show. But anyway, I'm Carl Price. This has been Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio, and all the other outlets. And Paul's putting his headphones close to the microphone, so you're going to hear some feedback. Now he just took it back. Now he's talking over the microphone, and he's just doing all this stuff. And Paul actually used the word motherfucker tonight.
Did I?
And I don't know.
No, I don't think
you
so.
did that. You said
No,
that. I just repeat because I don't use that word.
Did I? I don't use that word often.
Yeah, you did. Okay. That's what
More
you
than
did.
2 days.
Okay, anyway, you can continue to watch us on YouTube and Facebook anytime you want. Okay, I'm Carl Price. It's Conscious Fever, Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. I will see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price on 97thebeatfm.com.
Follow me on Twitter at DJ Ice Louisville and on Instagram at DJ Ice_Louisville. For bookings, DJ Ice Price at Gmail.
In a little tent, like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it is. Then I go to my brother. And I say, brother, help me please. But he wind up knocking back down on the knee. There've been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able, Father, to carry on. And it's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it is. Yes it is. Yes it is. Said I can't get